कैसे सब क्या चल रहा है। आज अपन खेलेंगे स्क्रिम्स, बहुत मजा आएगा। मतलब थोड़ा सा 3 मैन ग्राइंड होगा क्योंकि अपने दो लड़के कुछ काम से बाहर है, जेली और जॉनी। तो इतना लाइक अभी 3 मैन ही होगा, बट मजा आएगा। फिर भी अपन 3 मैन ग्राइंड करेंगे गाइस। देखो ग्राइंड चलते रहना चाहिए, ये सब अपने को इतना वो नहीं होना चाहिए, ग्राइंड नहीं रुकना चाहिए कभी अपना। बूट कैंप कब जा रहे हो भाई? मेरी फ्लाइट है 25 की, 25 को जा रहा हूं मैं। 26 को क्रेट ओपनिंग करूंगा, तो मैं बूट कैंप से करके दिखाऊंगा क्रेट ओपनिंग।
Okay. So you saw our BMPS, BGIS, and all, right? I'm pretty sure you covered those.
I watched as much as I could, especially of the finals, but I had shows during those shows. So I have rewatched some of the games and stuff. Like I saw the insane finish from Hunters, from Genesis, winning from the loot truck. I saw that kind of stuff. So I am aware. Mm-hmm. I'm not an expert, which is why I'm not doing tier list videos about India, because otherwise people are going to realize I know nothing about most of the teams. I only do a lot of research on those to make it globally, usually. Like now you've got like and your orangutan.
Yeah, but so my question actually just comes up from this itself, and that is, you've seen those games, you've seen like even a couple of those games and all. Yeah. Still, this was my question last year as well, I remember. Where do you think we lack with respect to global teams? Because see, our region, we consider it, this BMPS was a really fierce competition, amazing matches, anything that was happening was like just, calculated from the teams and all. But this has been a thing for us, for Indian teams. Whenever we go to global, we do not get the expected results. What is still, like what is or / what are those things that still just haunt us in the international lobbies?
So I'm actually going to start with a positive, Ocean, because last time we had this discussion, right, I said fragging power with the shotgun is lacking. I don't believe that's the case anymore. I feel like there's been a lot, especially of WoW show matches, 4v4s happening between, I think it was one between Nongtron Red Force and who was it? It was DSG, so Godlike, I think, or something like that. But there've been a lot of scrims.
Yeah.
And fragging wise, at least these two teams, right, Orangutan and Godlike, I would say have what it takes to win fights in a global lobby. So fragging wise, we're good. I would say India's looking really solid. Could you maybe improve synergy and communication and stuff? Maybe a little bit, as you could always, right, for any team.
Yeah.
But at least the gun skill, thumbs up. I feel like there's been a big improvement, and shotgun is not as strong as it used to be. It's been nerfed a little bit, right, because SMGs just keep getting buffed. So I think this is actually going to favor the Indian teams quite significantly. Already that's a positive, right? Fragging power is looking good, looking decent. One thing I want to see worked on, and this is more of a sentiment on the entire BGMI region, which is in-game, there's a big lack of direction, Ocean, sometimes I feel like. I see some pushes for like, I think it was in the finals of, what was the last one? BMPS, right?
Yes.
I was seeing pushes on sheds that realistically had no value in that particular circle. There was a circle, I think it was down south of military base.
Okay.
And I see people just driving around them like there are so many better options. I prefer you aim to take a fight against a team that is still as a 4-man. And if you win the fight, you gain a lot of value in terms of position in that zone, instead of going for a position that really, you're just going to get stuck. So for me, it's just about decision making and committing to a play that could reward, not always a chicken dinner, because that's kind of unachievable to always get a win, but that will always get you that step closer to a podium finish, which is why I always think a team should aim for is get to top 3. If you get a win, that's just something on top, cherry on top, perfect. So I would say right now, lack of direction and decision making is something that I'm a little bit hesitant on. But again, that's in general. I feel like teams like Orangutan, but especially Orangutan, because they played PMGC last year, are going to adapt. Are going to have definitely a way better macro than what we saw back in their regional tournament.
Okay.
Yes, because PMGC last year.
Yeah.
But otherwise, as a whole, I would say that's my biggest glaring issue as of right now. Actually, would you agree or not on that?
I have a follow-up question just on this. You said you talked about the fact that for the teams, for a southern side of the military base circle, like there are those kind of circles are very unconventional circles for our region, right? We do not play those kind of circles usually. Last year, this time BMPS usually had a zone meta kind of a thing where most of the circles were actually forming around either Gatka side or southern side of Yasna. They were majority of the circles. So if something comes up really unconventional for us, that is either very southern side of military base or a zone like Zaki or a circle like maybe Stalberg, Kamishki area and all, what might just be a good strategy in internationals if we see an unconventional zone, unconventional circle to just play around? We will still try to think of it because the instinct just takes over that we should try and gather more information from one house to the other and all. But international teams, they play differently in those kind of circles. They still play patiently. They still just will not do unnecessary pushes unless they actually have the confirmation that yes, they have knocked down one or two or more people and all. So what are the strategies to play around in these kind of unconventional zones, which are rare to see, but in a lobby like this, they might happen and we might just lose the game. Yeah.
See, it's kind of hard because when you're talking about these rare, unconventional circles, usually I would have to look at the specific circle and say, oh, for this circle in particular, you've got to do this, or this circle, you've got to do that, because it's very adaptable.
Let's take the example of that southern side of military base circle, the one that the game that you
Okay, that one. So let me just try and memorize who we had. Okay, so there was the shed. So military, southern side, you have a shed, you have a road, you have a slight little dirt pile, and then you've got like a destroyed house with a tank and stuff, right?
Yes.
And there was a team up in there. I don't remember which team was in which position. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But they went for the shed instead, and the shed gives you cover, right? But it was on the edge of the circle, so there's a very slim chance the circle favors that position. And then by going for that fight, you allow the other teams to not have to fight you directly as your full team already, which is a big issue. And then they can easily get the angles onto you, and then the circle forces you out in the open over a road. Bad idea. If you have, and I really mean this, if you do have 3 or 4 players, then you can really go for it. If you have 1 player, the shed is a good play. If you have 3, 4 players, I would try and contest. Right? Try and contest that position from the northern team. One thing that I would say hurts Indian teams along their home region right now is hesitation, right? I prefer a team, Ocean, commits to a bad play together quickly than a team that hesitates and eventually goes for a good play. But the thing is, the more you hesitate, the more time the enemy team has to prepare for your, let's say, your breach, right, on their position. So that would be the play I would go for, is just go hard or go home at these moments, because even if you get eliminated, at that point, I think it was like top 4. There was like 4 teams.
4 to 5 teams, yeah.
Yeah. Even if you don't get the chicken dinner, the difference is literally 1 placement point per extra rank. And I feel like the risk is worth the reward, in the sense that even if you just confirm 1 extra elimination, it bumps you up. Even looking back at last year at PMGC, I didn't see Orangutan do any of those plays. The 1 chicken dinner they got, people are going to like I'm going to say this, but they got insanely circle gifted. It was so kind to them. They didn't have to try that game. And I feel like now what we need to see is them commit to big plays and just say, screw this. We're good at gunfight, which I do believe that India stepped up massively in terms of CQC fights. Just send it. And if you do that, I feel like maybe it might not work out every time, but the times it do work out, then maybe you get a chicken dinner. And then top 5 in group stage, top 6 in the survival stage, that is definitely doable for these teams. So, sorry, I went on a bit of a rant there, but that is my very specific thing I need to be worked on, is trust yourself. If they don't trust themselves, these global teams are going to eat Godlike and Orangutan alive instantly. That is a big thing you need to work on.
We have not had the right kind of results in the internationals. That's definitely one thing.
Yeah,
I don't know. I became depressed just knowing about that right now. Yeah.
But one thing that's fun is that and I really want to especially hype up Orangutan and Godlike for this. They're playing in global scrims, which of course global scrims, it doesn't have every region, right? You don't have Brazil, you don't have China, which is going to be really tough. But they're playing in, I think it's like a South Asian tournament where there's Nepali teams. You got Aurora that's going to be playing tomorrow, right? Which is going to be in that lobby. You're going to have Team Flash. You're going to be having 4th Rise. Make me feel sad for India is you guys get barely any international exposure, so the teams need to go out of their own way to get that experience, which is what they're doing. I think it was S-Power. S-Power messaged me right after they won, and he was asking, bro, please give me the map feeds. I was like, okay, here you go, map feed for global tournaments, PMI, PMGO, blah, blah, blah. I was throwing it to him. Same for Aru. So it's good that they are trying to get that kind of these tools to try and just step up to the global level and see what is played globally. So that was also another good step from these teams. So hopefully it works out and helps. What is very important for Rondo is adaptability. If a team is willing to chase you down, just go for another recall tower. There's so bloody many on Rondo. Just go to another option. So that is one big gripe I have, is just if your early game goes down terribly, and finding out another recall tower, which is not your main recall tower, is always really tough. So just have plan A, plan B, plan C if you want to work it out.
OG is doing the same that Max is saying. Yeah, Maxman, if you guys don't know, Maxman is OG's secret coach. you do talk a lot to Aru, no? I mean, about like things and all the respect games, no? Yeah.
We're homies. I don't tell him, bro, you should be doing that. I'll just do the map feeds and stuff sometimes. I'm not their secret coach, no. But I like them. I like Aru in particular. I think he's a great IGL.
Yeah, so people were also asking your thoughts on S-Power, since you've had conversations with him, like S-Power, how he has evolved throughout these years of playing the game.
Yeah, but I think Admino, S-Power, very strong fraggers, right? And as I said, I feel like the fragging is not the issue, right? Gunplay is not an issue for India in my mind, at least anymore. It's all about the rotation. So if you put S Power, if you put Amino, if you put AKOP, even for the side of Orangutan, like you put all these guys in a strong position, I feel like they could very, no, I wouldn't say easily because it's pretty even. They have a chance of coming out on top. So yeah, in terms of how he's grown and stuff, I don't want to lie and say, oh, he's grown a lot as a player. Like, I don't know, because India just came back, what, like a year and a half ago in the global scene? A year ago?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be a LARPer, Ocean. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, I love this Val the day he was born. No, I don't know. But as of right now, recently, he was looking really strong. So I'm hopeful that he could put up some big numbers in PMWC.
Did you get a chance to? I mean, it's obviously out for the future, but did you get a chance to look at our ENC? I actually want to ask, like, what are your thoughts on the entire lineup, and what are your thoughts, like, of obviously it's ahead in the future, but your first look, your first thoughts.
Nakul is one of the best IGLs, right, in India, in my opinion. But I am surprised as to why the IGL of India isn't Aru, that has more international experience, right? He's going to play PMWC. He played PMGC last year. I feel like he would be the best option right now for Team India.
Okay.
And yet they put Nakul that has, if I'm not mistaken, Ocean, he's never played globally, right? He's only played. So that one is a bit of a head scratcher to me. Why is Nakul playing? Even though, again, I think he's one of the best in India. But I think you have a better option. S-Power, obvious pick for me. And Slug, I feel really bad for Slug. Man, that ending of the MPS, bro, for Divine, that was so tough. But Slug was one of the main carries on the team. So I think actually he's a really good addition.